And we're back with a win. How long has it been, Graham? 18 days?
18
Something
days.
like that?
18 days, mate.
We're back. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'm buzzing.
I'm buzzing as well. Back with a win. Back on the original set.
Back on the original set. Here we are, guys. Welcome back to the Tactical Insight Show. We got a lot to break down. Some doom and gloom, but mainly we're just going to be focusing on a crucial win that saw Arsenal capitalise on Spurs' drop points, their 3-2 defeat to Southampton. We capitalised on that, and United's drop points at Burnley. We won at Wolves, difficult place to go. Sometimes it was pretty, sometimes it was ugly, but I don't care. We got the 3 points. We're going to break it down from the press to the 10-man defence, everything. And we're going to have a look at that Martinelli red card and really understand whether the referee did get it right or wrong. And I want to look at the bigger picture as well when it comes to Mikel Arteta's the red cards under him. It's 15 now in all competitions under Mikel. Can you portion blame to him or not? Is it on the players? We're going to tackle all those things. Graham, just very quickly, let me just get your reaction to that performance and that win.
It was a vital win, mate. We went into Molineux to play against a team who were in good form. They'd won the last 3 Premier League games. I know they'd lost a FA Cup game last week. Manager just got Manager of the Month. They won at Man United. And it was always going to be a difficult game. Whatever we think, Wolves are contenders for the European places. Had they beaten us last night, they would have gone above us. So it was a vital match. And obviously we dropped points against Burnley. And so to come back with a win, I think, was really important in terms of us moving forward in the race for the European places.
And Laurie made a great point on the starting 11 show before the game that while a point at Wolves is by no means a disaster, and we might have taken some positives from that, it was more to build momentum. We needed a win because we hadn't got one yet in 2022, and to get that was crucial for the side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would have taken a point before the game, but we dropped points against Burnley. So in a way, it was crucial we got the win. So
absolutely
fantastic that we did so, and a really good performance.
Well done.
It was a good result. Not you could question the performance at times. I thought the first half, we're going to go into it. I thought the first half, the match started quite open. I expected
yes, it did,
because Wolves don't shoot much at goal and are quite defensive in their 3-4-3 shape. Arsenal obviously have just moved Aubameyang on. We're always wondering how that would play out. With our leading goal scorer in the team in the club is Smith Rowe, was on the bench, and Lacazette has only got 2 goals from open play. He was up front. So you thought it would be a cagey sort of tight affair, but it did start off quite open, the way it started off, James.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, let's break it down, starting with Arsenal's press and how positive they were in that opening probably half hour, let's say. Wolves had moments in the game, but I felt that Arsenal generally controlled key areas of the pitch. The press was key to that. Let's have a little look.
Yeah, I thought we changed the way we pressed in this game, James. We normally this season been pressing in a 4-4-2. We went more, I'd say, man to man. And how we did it in this game was, I think the reason we did it is because of the shape of the Wolves team, which you're going to show on the screen here.
So let's have a look. So you made the point that Lacazette, Martinelli and Saka were quite narrow on their back three.
Yep. So I think the key to it really was our fullbacks pressing onto their wing backs, because they play a 3-4-3.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the time they're looking to spin their wing backs in behind. So he literally sort of like man marked them. So he had
Tierney.
Tierney was pushing on to their right back and Cedric onto the left back. So that was what he asked our 2 fullbacks to do. And then obviously Xhaka was pushed onto Neves in the middle. Odegaard was obviously taking care of Dendoncker. And I think what he left them was partly was a screen behind with the 2 centre halves pushing on to their 2.
Right, so between the 3 of them, they just kind of dealt with that area of the pitch.
Absolutely. I think that's what he decided to do. And I think it's because Wolves literally try and build up slow and then look to hit their wing backs in behind. And I think he was basically looking at ways to deal with that. So obviously he wanted to stop them the way they wanted to build up, and also to man mark their wing backs.
Absolutely, and we pressed on that front 3 as you mentioned as well. Saiss, Cody, Kilman not getting time in the game thanks to Saka, Lacazette and Martinelli. Interesting from an attacking perspective, and we didn't really chat about this much before, but Granit Xhaka was being used as almost a box-to-box advanced 8, wasn't he? I mean, you can argue that Partey's at the base and Odegaard and Xhaka are equally either side of him.
Yeah, he played more, I'd say, as a left-sided number 8 last night, and he played in that role pretty well against Norwich, against a weaker opposition. So
Yeah.
I think we need an upgrade in that area, I'll be honest with you. I think Xhaka, I think he was okay last night. Obviously, both our central midfielders were on yellow cards in the game. So, but that's where he chose to play him last night, almost like a left-sided number 8, sort of more forward, and as I say, Partey more behind.
I'm really glad we saw this approach from Arsenal because well, 2 reasons. Firstly, with Tomiyasu being out and Cedric coming in, people could talk about the difference in quality, but my biggest takeaway is the difference in profile. Tomiyasu, as we know, likes to slot into the back 3. I was interested to see how Arsenal would build up. Cedric likes to bomb on. He's actually got a good delivery on him. We saw that with the ball to Lacazette. But the other point I really wanted to make, if we look at this graphic here, and I made the point in the starting 11 show before, that I want Arsenal to take the game to Wolves, because even though actually on the eye they look a very good side who move it around well, we saw what they did at Old Trafford, their attacking numbers really aren't very impressive. Again, I mentioned it yesterday, this is before the Arsenal game. Their goals per 90, they rank 18th in the league. Their XG per 90, 17th. Average possession, 12th. They're 20th for shots in the league. Goals per shot, they rank 17th. Crosses, 19th. Passes that led to shot, 18th. And they'd only scored 19 goals for the Arsenal game. Of course, that stayed on 19 thanks to Aaron Ramsdale and the Arsenal back 3, 4, whatever you want to call it. It was, when you look at those numbers and you look at actually how fairly toothless they are in attack for all the talent they've got, Arsenal were right to take the game to them.
Yeah, I agree. I think one thing that happened in the transfer window, they lost Traore, didn't they? As much as
they did.
Barcelona took the Aubameyang, they lost Traore to Barcelona.
That's true.
And Jota, I know he's been gone for over a season now, but they've lost 2 really key offensive players. The guy they brought in to replace Traore is new to the Premier League. He's just feeling his way. Jimenez coming back from a long injury. So there is not a lot of goals in that Wolves team.
No.
But they have built their success this year, I think, on being hard to beat, defensively solid. And so you are right. And we did need to take the game to them. And I think with Tomiyasu not in the side, Tomiyasu performs a role where he's inverted, which is not Cedric's strength. Cedric is more, as you say, more of a player for bombing on.
Kind of lung busting, holds the width.
He's nowhere near the quality of Tomiyasu, but that's his strength. So credit Arteta for sort of identifying that. That's his strength. We're going to play him forward, and he's going to look to get forward and support the attack and push on to defensively out of possession onto their wing back. So yeah, it all made sense the way he set up, really. And I think, as I said to you, the way that we pressed last night, the change to normal shape, I think was based on the fact that Wolves do like to build up in this 3-4-3 and try to get their wing backs released into open space. So he literally marked their wing backs.
And I don't want to overdo it. I mean, listen, Arsenal absolutely did press. I thought Arsenal were the better side on the night. I actually thought before the sending off, we looked fairly in control, really. Yeah. We always kept them at bay, and I thought the 3-4 best chance of the game fell to Arsenal. You think of the Lacazette through ball when we're down to 10 men. You think of that lovely football with Saka, White on the edge of the box as well. There was some really good openings for Arsenal.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I thought most of the play, particularly in the first half, was more in the midfield. I thought it was more. There wasn't a lot of action around the penalty boxes, I think. Generally in the game anyway. The battle really was in midfield. And I think Neves, obviously with Xhaka, whatever we thought of what Xhaka did offensively in the number 8 position, I thought Xhaka did a reasonably good job on Neves as well. So I think the battle was more, this showed up, I think, 2 sides who are not exactly setting the world alight for goals.
Absolutely.
James. And I thought it was that type of game, a cagey game. It did start open, and both sides did have a go at the start. I wanted Arsenal to start fast, get on that front foot, try and put Wolves under pressure. We did sort of start trying to do that, but also Wolves as well had 1 or 2 situations at the start. And ultimately, I think what settled me down as a fan watching that game was us getting our first goal and taking the lead.
Absolutely.
Because I think the first goal, James, was always going to be crucial in this game.
I mean, of course, and when you look at the Wolves' numbers, it makes complete sense. Let's have a little look at the Arsenal goal. Now, I'm going to apologise very early on. This might be the worst breakdown you're ever going to see in terms of the goal, that is. If I'm just to quickly show it, I mean, Marte puts into the box. Yes, it's going super slowly, but you'll see why in a second. But just my key takeaway here is they have 3 players at the near post who don't really deal with it. So, we get frustrated at players when they don't beat the first man. He's actually got 3 first men to beat. But in fairness, He's just put enough on it so that it's kind of awkward, and Neves kind of gets the header that he almost helps guide it into that dangerous area. Cody, and I think it's Connor Cody's on Lacazette, with the Wolves players, I've just taken away their numbers and names to make it easier to know who was where. But Cody, then goes and deals with it, clears it, but not properly. Ben White sort of, reads the danger, sniffs out where it's going to go, puts it back into the box. But what's interesting, and actually I'm just going to take it back a second to here. So Neves heads it in, Cody goes to deal with it, heads it out to Ben White, and Cody's instinct is to run straight back to the goal line, which I thought was quite interesting. He kind of, first instinct was, well, let me get in a place to kind of protect our goal rather than deal with whatever might come back in. Comes to Lacazette. Jose Sá's looking for a foul or something. I mean, there's nothing there. Lacazette does enough to kind of make it difficult, and it kind of runs beyond them both. And Gabriel puts it into the back of the net. Kilman's not following. I think it's Kilman isn't following him.
Yeah.
And I think it's as simple as that. I think if Cody had actually followed Lacazette, maybe they'd have dealt with it. But it's a bit of a shambles from Wolves, as you mentioned. The first goal they've conceded from a set piece in the league, and Arsenal have improved from set pieces dramatically this season.
Yeah,
so,
I see the set piece coach actually celebrating when we
yeah,
scored that
Nicolas
goal.
Jaeger,
didn't he?
very
And
happy.
So look, I think Lacazette does really well. That's a goal assist for him. I think he's now got 4 of those.
Yeah.
So we're going to possibly berate him later for that chance when he could have killed the game, but he did get that vital touch. And I think they were checking something after the goal. If anything, it was a foul on Lacazette by the keeper who'd come out to sort of like punch it clear. I thought he was trying to dive in there to get it, and Lacazette nipped in before him. That's what I felt watching it, and almost like fouled Lacazette. But Lacazette had already got the flick on. And Gabriel alert in the box, and he's scoring goals from set plays for us, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and that's what I like about Gabriel. It reminds me of Koscielny, who used to step up with big goals at crucial times, and the best centre backs do. You look at Van Dijk; they're a threat from set pieces as well. They can kind of smell where to be in the area and put it in the back of the net, and he did. We'd love to be talking about Arsenal's play more and the goal. There's only the one goal. We've got to talk about this red card. And actually, I want to break it down because I still feel very 50-50 about it. In fact, I think I lean more one way than the other. Let me just read out the law that was going around yesterday on social media. I'm not sure it clears much up for me, but I'm going to read it anyway. So this is apparently the official law when it comes to advantages and how you should caution players when it comes to an advantage. So if the referee plays the advantage for an offence for which a caution/sending off would have been issued had play been stopped, this caution/sending off must be issued when the ball is next out of play. However, if the offence was denying the opposing team an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, the player is cautioned for unsporting behaviour. If the offence was interfering with or stopping a promising attack, the player is not cautioned. That doesn't clear up anything for me. Does it for you?
No. I think he booked him and twice for deliberately trying to stop the throw.
Right.
And we'll talk about that in a moment. And then for chasing back and deliberately pushing him over.
Yeah.
I don't think he applied that law to that situation. When you look at the first incident, the throw, I mean, obviously Martinelli is a bit upset because he felt he's been fouled.
Yeah.
So he clearly is upset by that. So the guy, who took the throw in?
Was it Podence?
Yeah, Podence. He's trying to not only steal yards, but he's taking a throw with both feet off the ground.
Okay.
Which is, first of all, so if you're applying the letter of the law, and Peter Walton on the TV last night was going by the letter of the law. The letter of the law clearly said that was a foul throw.
Okay.
So basically, if you took that as the incident, the isolated incident, he shouldn't have booked him for trying to stop him because it was a foul throw. So
right.
So that was the first thing, right? But the problem I've got with this is, I think I've got a real problem if somebody doesn't know they're on a yellow card.
Yeah.
Because I think a yellow card serves as a warning to a player who's committed an offence, so you know where you stand in the position in the game.
Defeats the point of a yellow card.
Defeats the point. If you can't just add up sort of like incidents and give cards like that. So Martinelli, when he chased back, would not have known that he was on a yellow card. And then he pushes the guy over, I think, because he's still stressed whatever you say about it, his mentality is not great, but he's upset about the incident. He's trying to do his best to get back for something for the team, and he pushes him over. So the referees then decided that's 2 offences, 2 bookings. As I say, Martinelli did not know he was on a yellow card. But I think what I want from referees is, I've said before when I came up here 18 days ago with you, I just want to see consistency. But what I want more from referees is common sense. Absolute common sense. I want referees to look at situations in game and apply common sense. Now, I've been around watching football for longer than you, and how many times in football matches at local level, even at top level, referees say that's your last chance, or that should have been a yellow card, 1 yellow. It was ridiculous. No common sense from Michael Oliver at all to issue 2 yellow cards. I've never seen it in 50 years of watching football, and I just think, it leads me, and we're going to talk about this later, but almost like referees look at Arsenal differently when they apply the law. That's what it feels like at the moment, James.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I know we very politely disagree on it, but I do understand that. I get the frustration. Can you give someone a second yellow when they didn't know they were on the first? Because that defeats the point of yellow cards. What I always see from referees, the example I go to, you see players like Eden Hazard, Alexis Sanchez. I mean, let's go to the extreme, Lionel Messi. When they're driving through the centre of the pitch, one central midfielder tries to take them out, but they kind of ride the challenge. Then another central midfielder takes them out. The ref will always blow and take it back to the first, won't he? And he might book the first. He never goes, that was a yellow and that was a yellow. He never double cautions in that situation. So there is where the inconsistency is. If that's what you're going to do, if you're going to book, whether you've attempted to play advantage, you're going to book for every foul and yellow card incident in a very short period of time, fine. But as you said, we've never seen that. So that's my biggest gripe, is that, okay, well, let's see it then. When Martinelli's charging through the pitch, next time he's playing, at some point this season, he'll be brought down. He'll probably be brought down by 2 players. You talk about players getting sandwiched and all that. I want to see both players cautioned, because that's the standard you've now set. What I would say, though, is I think it goes back to a lack of discipline at Arsenal that frustrates me more than anything. Because I look at Martinelli, why are you pushing the guy before he's taking a throw in? That's really stupid. And then the second yellow, I understand more. He's charging a goal, you're going to take the booking. But it's still a yellow card. I see 2 yellow card offences, so I understand why he's got 2 yellow cards. So I am on the fence a little bit with this. In fact, let us know in the comment section, guys, what you think. Was it correct? And really, take your Arsenal hat off for this. Just, can you understand why the ref's given it? Do you think it's a misapplication of the law?
I'm just going to say Arteta summed it up perfectly. He really had to want to do that.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you say, you talk about Arsenal's indiscipline. That is a key. That's a brilliant, one of his best ever, I think, quotes at a press conference. Michael Oliver chose not to book 3 Wolves players in the first half for fouling Cedric and Saka twice. He chose not to do that. He could have given them a yellow card, but he chose to send off Martinelli. He chose. It's sending off season for Arsenal. Whatever you say, it's sending off season. It was a ridiculous decision, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I thought I had
common sense, yellow card, and say to him, final warning.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Say, look, you've
lost your head a little bit.
You've done that. And what I can't understand is that Martinelli, it's not like he's in his locker, because I think referees do judge players on who they are. It's been clear over the last month when you've seen Granit Xhaka get sent off for a Granit Xhaka tackle, but you don't see Harry Kane get sent off for a Harry Kane tackle. You don't see Mason Mount sent off for a kicking out at a Liverpool player. You don't see Sadio Mane sent off for elbowing Cesar Azpilicueta, Chelsea. And then another incident on Sunday, Kelleher comes rushing out of his goal for Liverpool, brings down a Cardiff striker who's going round him and possibly having a goal scoring opportunity. You don't see the same laws applied to other players. So I'm thinking about this coming up today to you. As much as I think referees sometimes book players on reputation, are they now looking at clubs on reputation? You could argue have dug our own grave, so to speak, by being a team who received so many red cards. Our referees now thinking it's an Arsenal player, red card. Because look, all I'd say is consistency I want, but common sense. And so I disagree with you on that, mate. As much as I respect you, consistency, common sense, yellow card. But he chose to do something. So let's watch now coming game and see whether that same And I know you're going to have different referees applying different circumstances, but you can use whatever you want. But I think Mikel Arteta absolutely nailed it at his press conference.
Yeah.
You have to want to do that. Yeah.
Fair enough. I want to ask the question about whether there's a wider issue with the way Arteta disciplines some of these red card incidences, because I've really tried to break it down to make it clear. And by the way, we're going to give him a lot of credit in a sec, not only for the win, but for the way he approaches games with 10 men, because I think he's found a system that is brilliant for us. But let me just actually show you guys what I'm talking about here. So on this graphic, I've actually gone through every single red card under Arteta. I'm going to fly through them really quickly. You got Aubameyang, the first red card under Mikel Arteta, high studs against Palace, Luiz pulling the box against Chelsea and City, and Nketiah high studs against Leicester. Pepe, I've put headbutts in quote marks because, I mean, he leaned in, but okay. Xhaka for violent conduct against Burnley, he had his hand around the player's neck. Gabriel's second yellow card against Southampton, and a Luiz trip in the box. Now I'm going to take those first 8 incidences, and I'm going to sort of almost rank whether I think you're going to see how I rank them. Let's move on to the next bit. So with Aubameyang, the Aubameyang red, for me it happens. Sometimes you go for a ball, you catch them with the studs, it can happen. The Luiz pull in the box, completely needless. I know he's through on goal. You don't need to put your arms around him like that. Man City again, needless. Nketiah, it happens. He's not looking at the man, he's looking where the ball's going to go. Catches him high, it can happen. Pepe, needless. Again, I don't want to see that kind of thing being given a red card, but why, you know the rule, you know what refs are giving reds for. The Xhaka one against Burnley, hand around the neck, completely needless. The Gabriel second yellow against Southampton, we're going to say it again, needless, he wasn't going anywhere. Now the Wolves one, the red card for David Luiz against Wolves, a straight red, that was unlucky. That was an absolute joke of a decision. Now let's move on to the 7 after that. Leno, handball in that same game against Wolves. Ceballos with a second yellow against Villarreal. Granit Xhaka 2-foot lunge against Man City, albeit got the ball nowhere near the player, but you know what happens with 2 feet. Gabriel second yellow again against Man City, very similar to the Southampton one. Xhaka with a high foot against Liverpool. Partey second yellow against Liverpool. And Martinelli, I've just put 2 yellows in quick succession. And again, how am I ranking those? Bernd Leno, completely needless, come flying out his box and handballs it. Ceballos, unlucky. I mean, the first yellow was one of those, but the second yellow, really unlucky. Granit Xhaka, needless. You don't need to go flying in 2-footed like that. Gabriel, middle of the pitch on Gabriel Jesus, you don't need to go flying in like that, though I do think the referee was quick to give us yellows and not City. Granit Xhaka, your last man, why are you taking the chance of the high boot against Liverpool like that? Thomas Partey, the game's lost, you're flying in, very needless. Martinelli, again, I think most would agree unlucky. I venture on the side of needless, but whatever. My point is, when you look at all of them, I see so many reds that just didn't need to happen. And I just wonder why Arteta isn't pulling them aside and saying, use your head, calm down. It almost, not punishing, that sounds harsh, but are there fines for red card and missed games? They're getting paid for not playing. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but Arsenal need to get a grip of this, and Arteta needs to get a grip on this. And whilst the Martinelli thing, okay, you can't put that on Arteta, but 15 red cards, especially when you break them down, I think you can look at the manager. He said yesterday he's out of ideas, didn't he? He was asked that. Look, I would say that 13 red cards in the Premier League since he's been manager. The next highest is Southampton with 8, which there's quite a discrepancy, isn't there, between us and other clubs. Big. And a big club. But look, I'm going to say to you now, you've got your little graphic there, and it's a fantastic bit of work there, mate. Well, thank you. Just let me ask you, I'm going to just go back to the cards. In the last month, we've had more players sent off in the last month, in the last 40 days, than we've scored goals. We've 4 reds and two goals. Everyone, that was the stat I saw on social media last night. I'm going to ask you now quickly, for you, red card or not? Harry Kane, 2 foot against Robinson, red card. Yeah, no, for me, red card, yeah. Sadio Mane, elbowing the Chelsea left back in the head. Yeah, borderline, but I think red. Mason Mount kicking out at a player on the floor. Like by the left of they're all red. I don't really want to see them. It's a high intensity game, and he's kind of. But yes, Westwood. Yeah, that's a red. Yeah, that's a red against. And Kelleher coming out of his goals. That's a red.
How many of
yes.
those were given as red cards?
None.
None.
Yeah. It's a good point. It's a good point, guys. Let us know in the comment section. Are Arsenal unfairly treated, or is this a problem that Arteta needs to resolve, or is it both? Could easily be both. Maybe we need to see consistency, but Arsenal have their own act to clean up as well, perhaps. Now, let's end on some positives. Arsenal's shape, when we do go down to 10 men, is something that Arteta has mastered, let's be honest. You know, we've always tentatively said Arsenal have improved defensively under Mikel Arteta. The one thing he has been able to give us is a shape when we go into a deep block. Now, taking it back to the tactical pad, we see Martinelli's missing. So the first thing he does is bring off Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, he already made one sub, hadn't he? He'd already taken off.
Smith Rowe had come off for Odegaard.
Smith Rowe had come on for Odegaard. So we criticised him for not having a plan B for when we're attacking, but he's certainly got a plan B for when we're defending.
Yeah.
And I think what he did was, we've seen this 3 times this season, and we've only conceded 1 goal in about 2 hours of football, and that was the Man City goal right at the end. So when we went down to 10 men against Man City, he played this 5-3-1 that you're showing on the tactical pad now.
Yeah.
And he played it also against Liverpool at Anfield when Xhaka got sent off, and he played it again for the last 19 minutes. The crucial thing for me yesterday, and you're going to show his numbers in a minute, is Rob Holding, who we have criticised on this Tactical Insight show, but he was excellent when he came on last night, like last 20 minutes. So they flipped to the back 5 with the 3 centre-halves with White in the middle. Holding in the middle. Holding really good there, as you show.
Really, really good.
Really, really good. Heading out, balls, clearances and everything. So you had your 3 centre-halves and your 2 full-backs now were high in the first half when we were pressing high.
Really condensed.
In the 4-4-2. Now we're back defending in this 5-3-1. You got the 5 defenders there. And what Wolves want to do really the last 90 minutes with the extra man, and they did change the shape as well, they want to stretch the pitch.
Yeah.
So basically we're now sort of like giving them left sort of like chance to do that. You got the 5 there defenders, you got Smith Rowe, and you got the 2 midfielders there, Partey and Xhaka, and then you got Lacazette, who was replaced by Nketiah for the last 9 minutes.
Yeah, he was.
That was a really solid 5-3-1 low block. And I think this started, if you think back to when he first came and we won the FA Cup, we played a lot in transition on counter-attack, low block against the top sides. And we won the FA Cup playing, not with obviously 10 men, but with a low block counter-attacking style.
Yeah.
And this plan B for defending, I think that they've worked this out really well on the training ground, and it limited Wolves, didn't it? Ramsdale made 1 or 2 saves, brilliant when he came and punched it. Ramsdale was excellent, but overall, defensively, and we're going to talk about how excellent Gabriel was because he was the leader last night, the real leader.
Yeah.
But I thought Holding excellent. If you've got the numbers of those 2 players, James.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna just very quickly. I wanted to jump in with a thought actually. If I should take it back to the tactical pad, where teams can hurt you in a game of football is in this area here. Yeah. I've highlighted it in green. So what I love is that Mikel Arteta has packed it out. We broke it down after Liverpool. He's packed out a really crucial area and said in these areas where typically, yes, you can hurt with an assist or you can hurt with sort of some quality and creativity, but you can't score directly from those red areas of the pitch. No. And so they just said, you have that.
You have those areas. You can sling
and we'll keep it tight in the middle.
We'll keep it tight, narrow, through the middle. You're not going to play through us.
Yeah.
You can go out wide. But we're going to deal with whatever crosses come in the box, and Rob Holding did that for the last 20 minutes superbly. Yeah, absolutely. I've got Holding's numbers. I'll just read them out here because absolutely. I thought he was terrific when he came on. 90 minutes played, 9 clearances, won 3 out of 3 duels, an interception, and a shot blocked as well. In 19 minutes. Cleared one off the line, didn't he?
Cleared, did he?
Yeah. Have you got Gabriel's numbers there?
Yes, I do. 85% pass accuracy, 5 clearances, 5 out of 6 ground duels won, 2 tackles, 2 key passes, an interception, 1 headed duel won, and a goal, of course. And he should have had an assist for the Lacazette pass as well. I've got to say, it was a terrific performance, wasn't it?
I think it was a lot of criticism the team took last night, the way they celebrated that win. But if you can't celebrate a win in football, you're in the wrong sport. Yeah. But they celebrated that win because they won it against the odds. They won it when they felt, I think, unfair. In their opinion, I think they would have felt unfair that they went down to 10 men. Yeah. And that made it even sweeter that they got there. Obviously recognised, and that is a credit. Whatever Neves said, I'm not going to talk about what he said, but basically, they were a threat because they would have gone above us last night had they won. So it was a key win, in that respect. It's now put us just on the fringes of the top four, James. We are now, along with Man United, 7-4 joint favourites now to finish in the top four.
There you go.
In a week where normally when teams drop points, we don't take advantage. I think
Sure.
that's a positive thing last night, and the players would have known how significant that was, and they enjoyed that moment with the fans on the pitch at the end. And the
Absolutely.
thing is, there is a togetherness between the players and the fans. That's the other point. They went to the fans to celebrate the win, and they got every right to do that.
Absolutely. I nearly went the whole show without even showing this graphic, which just highlights how crucial Arteta's 5-3-1 has been to Arsenal. If we just look at it now, in 37 minutes of football against Man City, 70 minutes of football against Liverpool, 26 against Wolves, there's 134 minutes of football with 10 men. We've only conceded 1 goal. Now, Arsenal, that is not us saying we enjoy playing with 10 men. Stop doing it, my God. But at least when there's something to protect, we've got something that more often than not is getting us over the line. Real shame that City got that 95th minute win or whatever it was.
Have you
against
got
us,
that
but-
roundup stat that I sent you on?
Oh yes, you did. Let me have a quick look just before
It's
we round
about
up.
when we go down to 10
Yeah,
men.
here we
after
go.
that.
Arsenal have won 35 of their 97 Premier League games in which they've had a player sent off. That's 36% win rate. That's more than any other team in the competition's history. Man United next best with 22 such wins. But stop it. We're not condoning it. Stop doing it. There we go. Graham,
All the
thank you
best.
so much for joining us. Let us know what you think about the red card. Was it harsh? Was it poor from Martinelli? Was it poor refereeing? I think I can see both sides here. Really interested to know what you think. What do you make of the 5-3-1 that Arteta's been deploying when down to 10 men? Certainly been working for Arsenal. And is top four, top four was on before. Is top four in our hands now? Is it ours to lose? You let us know. Well done, Arsenal. There's a not easy but favourable run of games, a chance to build some momentum. Let's hope they capitalise on that, and we'll be back in just over a week's time, about 10 days' time,
Brentford.
to break down the Brentford game. Thank you, Graham. Thanks, guys. Smash a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and we'll see you very soon.